I think I may have just seen the worst movie of the year. And I've still got two more movies in the running to watch before I can say that for sure. But right now, I'm here to talk about Citizen Vigilante. Whoo! It's bad. Alright, so I'm here to talk about Citizen Vigilante for those who are unfamiliar, and if you are unfamiliar, first of all, good for you. You stay under that rock as long as you can. Because this is a fucking nightmare. A wildly badly made film that is not just offensive for its overall commentary on society and messaging, but offensive in the basic way that the film is, thinks it's a movie. And it just barely is. So what is Citizen Vigilante? Okay, well, Citizen Vigilante is the most recent film from Uwe Bolls, a German filmmaker mostly known for the fact that he was pulling a literal producers with German tax law in the early to mid 2000s when he was making some of the worst video game movies ever made. And when I can say with definitive certainty that your best movie is fucking Postal, you probably should be stopped. Uwe Bolls is also famous for boxing his critics and making a lot of jokes about how his movies are funded with Nazi gold. And I thought those were just jokes until I saw this movie. The film is also the comeback film for Armie Hammer. See what happens when you get canceled? You end up making the worst movies imaginable. On top of this might also be the worst comeback movie ever made. No, seriously, I'm pretty sure that Carano lady? That Western she made is probably better than this. And I haven't even seen that Western. But the odds that it would be worse than this film are not good for this movie. The film Citizen Vigilante was originally filmed under the, I shit you not, title of The Dark Knight. Now, frankly, I don't know if that was just a filming name or if Uwe Boll genuinely believed he was going to get away with that malarkey. But here we are with Citizen Vigilante, and it's a fucking mess of xenophobia, anti-refugee sentiment, and just, basic Islamophobia. But also a whole lot of this feels like old man yells at the clouds, and Armie Hammer doesn't even look at that fucking old. Let's get into it. Start off with the basic film criticism, okay? How would I even begin to describe the structure of this film? Oh, wait, no, I thought of a perfect analogy for describing the structure of this film, okay? It's like if a drunk guy with a concussion was explaining the basic Christopher Nolan plot structure of, say, a movie like Dunkirk to another drunk guy with a concussion, and then that drunk guy with a concussion had to try and make a film based on the description he was just given for how to organize a film. The movie is essentially 3 acts, except I hesitate to call the first act a real act, because the first act is literally just an incredibly long opening sequence. It's like 10 or 11 minutes before the actual movie starts. It's like just literally a montage of world building. I mean, I guess arguably the scene where a woman gets stabbed in the neck and bleeds a comedic amount onto the pavement, dying in front of her son, is technically the first scene of the movie, but that just leads into an extended montage of just setting up the world, I guess, as we learn about the refugee crisis, and we see Armie Hammer loading guns, and then it ends with what is probably the film's opening action sequence, which is just him standing in a dark hallway shooting machine guns at three guys who dropped dead.
What happened to the lights?
And that's how the film opens. And then that leads into a sequence where he's riding on a bus and a bunch of teenagers don't want to pay for their tickets. So he pays for their tickets and then sits down to give those teenagers a little bit of a civics lesson as he explains why it's wrong to not pay for your tickets and how it affects prices for everybody. Like those teenagers will give a fuck. They don't give a fuck, by the way. One of them even tries to pull a knife on him and he just sticks a gun in the kid's ribs and this is the luckiest day of your life 'cause I'm not gonna fucking shoot you on a bus. I'm paraphrasing the actual dialogue there, but that's how the movie begins. And we're off and running. I want to get ahead of myself so bad, but let me get back to the structure of the film because it's nauseating. Literally, the next two acts are essentially extended, intercut, non-linear montages of scenes that sort of spiral around to the event that they are implied to be leading to. The first of these acts is essentially a bunch of SWAT guys getting in their car and heading over to fucking kill our hero. And this is intercut with Army Hammer doing really unimpressive exercise routines that, frankly, I lift barbells higher than him, and I don't normally brag about that shit, as he loads weapons. And this is intercut with the guys in the SWAT vans coming to get him. And that's intercut with additional scenes, including scenes where he is being interviewed by someone. We never find out who he is being interviewed for. The interview is literally, we never come back to it. We just get sequences of him being questioned, and we don't know who he's being questioned by. At first I was like, oh, this is a police thing. At some point they must catch him and they must bring him in, and that's why he has these explanations for why, oh yeah, you found my DNA on a glass, whatever. But we never get the other side of that interview. Ever. It never happens. Unless I blinked and missed it. But then this sequence also is intercut with scenes of him just being a cheap American psycho landlord. Literally, he's just walking around doing landlord shit. And frankly, I'm confused because everything he did as a landlord made me hate him so much. It's weird that he cares about, air quotes, justice, because it's clear that he is not motivated by any sense of empathy whatsoever. I feel like there's a word for this. Justice sensitivity, a psychological trait defined as the tendency to notice, obsess over, and emotionally react to unfairness when seen in dark personalities. This obsession is usually self-serving or focused on vengeance rather than true altruism. That's what he's fucking got. Because he's literally not motivated by empathy. We are shown numerous events that indicate that he has no empathy for anyone. That he is a hardcore capitalist and an American. Somehow. Actually, no. I'm going to come back to the American thing because I'm still talking about the fucked up structure of this film. So we get the American Psycho scenes. We get the cops in the SWAT vehicles. They're technically Interpol cops. And this all leads up to a sequence where he is in a metal bulletproof box with double machine guns waiting to just shoot a bunch of cops in the face. And that's literally what happens. Literally what happens. The first act is that. We are spiraling through around to that. Now, this sequence also features the best scene in the movie, which is just a sequence where he tricks a bunch of date rapists into drinking their own date rape drugs so the girls can get away. And it's easily the best part of the movie because it's the only part of the movie that made me think that there might be a decent human being inside of him. But the rest of the movie just absolutely fucking crushes that out of him. Well, crushes it out of me, I should say, because he's unbothered. The second half of the film is structured around another event that we're going to non-chronologically swirl around until we eventually get to that moment. And that moment is him just slaughtering an entire family. No, I'm fucking serious. That's what it is. That's the event. Literally, the first shot we get of this next act is bodies being taken out of a home, by the police. Like, what the fuck is happening? And I don't mean I know what's happening in terms of the sequence of events. I mean, what the fuck is this movie trying to do? Now, it's worth noting that Uwe Boll has always had, like, this very grindhouse aesthetic to him. So it's not surprising when his films are cheap, campy, overly campy while being overly serious / cheap and exploitative. And it's just, yeah, fuck, what am I watching? But anyways, this new sequence of events as we spiral into this family getting murdered in their home by a random white guy who is supposed to be the hero of this movie involves a sequence of scenes where he does this thing where he gets like consent from the people who the courts have failed and whatnot to go and kill the people who hurt them.
Please, only 10 minutes. She's very weak.
I can't even imagine everything you've been through.
I gotta talk about this one scene. This scene is just disgusting to me. I have to show it to you.
What do you want?
Who are you?
I'm just here to help. What do you want to happen?
What do you mean?
The men who did this to you. What do you want to happen to them?
I want them to go to jail for the rest of their lives.
And they might. Of course, we won't know till the end of the trial. And that could take years. And of course, you'll have to participate in that trial. Telling the story of what those men did to you over and over in a room full of people who are going to call you a liar. And try to poke holes in every detail of your story. And we'll also have to get lucky with the judgment. You never know how those things are going to turn out. And then during that long and expensive trial, we have to hope and pray that the men who did this to you don't do the same exact thing to somebody else. Is that the justice that you want? Do you want justice?
So, like, in this scene, he is literally, and I do mean literally, emotionally manipulating this woman into sanctioning his violence. That's what's happening here. What the fuck? Oh, by the way, another thing about this woman who he visits in the hospital and emotionally manipulates, we never address who he was going to kill for her. Like, the film never makes it clear who he's killing on her behalf. We literally just straight up don't see it. There are only literally three sequences. I guess unless you count, there are literally only 3 main action sequences if you count innocent people being slaughtered, and this woman's deal just never comes up again. We it's like what the fuck even is this sequence of events? We get scenes of him getting that consent, and then we get a scene where he kidnaps the judge who made the judgment and then takes him to a field to essentially overdose him on heroin and then pour like a small amount of vodka on his chest before slitting his wrists.
Just as bad as the perpetrators. You might as well have raped her yourself. Maybe that's why you decided to come out here and drown your sorrows.
It's a weird sequence that also sets up a political straw man, but all get into that in a moment as I actually get into the deeper issues. But the point is that the structure of the film is like watching two weird kaleidoscopes, one that completes its rotation, and then we go into another one that completes its rotation, and it's like literally an idiot's version of a Christopher Nolan film that doesn't understand why Christopher Nolan would change the linearity of his films like in a movie like Dunkirk. And the fact that it does it twice, like, what is even happening in this movie? Not only that, but like, a large number of these moments feel like we're just padding the runtime with additional footage. Also, there's so much goddamn B-roll in the whole thing. The movie is full of B-roll. It is consistently full of B-roll. European cities. And that's the structure of the film. Now we're going to move into the next act of this video, where I'm going to talk to you specifically about Armie Hammer's character. Oh, I forgot. In the first act, one of those sequences is also him having sex with a hooker and then getting obsessed with the mold in the ceiling because he owns the building. We got any tattoo experts in the comments who can tell me what the hell this suspicious tattoo under his nipple is? I mean, technically it's under his pec, but you get the idea. So, like, the biggest problem with this film, like, I had numerous moments watching the film where my basic thought was, oh, so this is just falling down without the irony, which it kind of is. If falling down wasn't ironic and had a message about, like, how that man was also sad and lost because how he'd ruined his own life and how he's just taking it out on the basic, tiny frustrations of everyday life. Citizen Vigilante is not that, because there is no irony. And at numerous points in the movie, my brain was like, wait, this movie can't seriously be asking me to root for this character. Am I supposed to like him because the film keeps cutting to people on Instagram who think he's based and cool? Is that what's supposed to make me like him? Because this is the thing. There's never a point in the movie when his character doesn't just radiate psychopathy. Well, maybe the scene where he fucks with the date rapist, but other than that, like, literally his only positive quality is that he's so anti-rape. That's, like, the best thing about his character. But, like, everything else about him seems engineered to make you want to see him get hit by a bus. He's full-on American Psycho throughout a large portion of the film. The film has this extended... By the way, the film just has this extended moment that is literally just cops getting shot in the face with machine guns. Like, and it's graphic, and it's got elevator music set to it, and, like, it's not even a real action sequence. Like, 2 out of the 3 action sequences are literally just him standing in one place, shooting people to death.
You're on. Let's go. Let's move.
I'd show you more of this, but there's some of this they're not gonna let me show you on YouTube. I'm sorry. I could have made complaining about the action scenes their own thing, but, like, Jesus. Let's get back to his character. The scene where we learn the most about him as a character is one where he goes and talks to the guy who runs his businesses for him, technically. And while we're meeting this guy, it's a weird sequence of events. And it's a weird sequence of events for several reasons. One of which, he's very American Psycho the whole time, except if American Psycho was A, actually a psycho and B, actually possibly good at his job, and if that job was being a landlord. He literally goes into a room that looks like just a hotel, a large fancy hotel room that someone rented, but it's full of like middle-aged and old people on computers doing business. And he goes into an office with the guy who works for him. And this is where we find out some very interesting details about his character. One of which is that his father's some European guy who sent him to school in America, and then he joined the American military, and his father was super proud of his military performance, blah, 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 blah. But he's all like, I didn't know my father, I didn't love my father, I didn't give a shit about my father was never in my life, but he did give me all these businesses. And like, there's this part in the scene where like his business guy is like, hey, you know, they're asking a lot of questions about these shell companies you have. And he's like, we gotta give them some information on these shell companies. And, like, the film doesn't say it, but, like, these shell companies are definitely only exist to make him a vigilante, right? That's the only thing that could be, and that's the only reason he would want to hide the tax info for it, right? Like, that's what's happening, right? We don't know. The film doesn't clarify it. Then the guy is basically like, hey, we could make you a citizen real easy, which is weird because we still don't know where in Europe the fuck we are. Like, literally, the movie just opens with a text that says Europe. And everybody's got weird accents that might be German or like Ukrainian or something. But everyone speaks fucking English. But like when he says we can make you a citizen real easy, which means that a couple things are happening here, which is one, he is an illegal alien. Armie Hammer's character is an illegal alien in Europe. Like, it's not even subtle. Like, they say it. They like, you came here under, like, false pretenses. And he's like, I'm just on an extended vacation, dealing with my father's properties.
Probably roll out the red carpet for you and even grant you citizenship without asking any question.
I'm an American, Owen. I'm just here on an extended vacation.
Side note, if his father is from Europe, how does he not have citizenship here? Like, what? Make it make sense. But, like, why? Why is he an illegal immigrant? Is it just so that he can have this sequence where he's like, no, I don't want to be European, I'm American. And then he proceeds to do this whole thing where they have a conversation, and basically the film does this moment where it's basically like, hey, isn't our system unfair to landlords because people can basically live rent-free for 7 months before we can actually kick them out? And it's like, what? What? We're just propagandizing in all right-wing directions now? What the fuck is happening? Why do we even need this moment? It just makes him seem like a dick. And even, the sequence even features a part where, like, the government wants to, like, use some of his housing, some of his empty housing to hold refugees. And he's like, no. Only if they're gonna pay only if the government's gonna pay full price. And then on his way out of this office meeting, he basically, like, turns around, looks at all his employees, his technical employees, and he says to the guy that's running everything, he's like, it smells like a nursing home in here. Get some fresh blood.
Smells like a nursing home in here. Let's get some fresh blood.
It's like you're engineering me to hate him. He hates kids, he hates old people, he hates immigrants, he hates, like, literally. This justice sensitivity thing is the only thing that could even possibly be motivating this character. And even there, it's like, what the fuck are we doing? On top of that, like, at the end of the day, he's a bad guy. Like, he literally is a bad guy. He does not give a fuck. Like, literally. In the sequence where he is driving the judge to a field to kill him, he runs a random car off the road to make a point to the judge who is so fucked up on heroin, he doesn't even know what the fuck is happening. And this car just careens off the road, and you're like, oh, the driver might be okay. No, it fucking explodes! In the cheapest looking way possible.
Human beings are such sheep. Even when you push them to the limit, they will obey the law, even if their own lives are in danger. Here, I'll show you. into their lane, instead of just crossing the line and breaking the law and going into our lane, they went into a ditch and most likely died.
And it's like, wait a minute. This guy can't be the good guy. Like, that's my major problem with this film, is the film seems to be implying that this guy is the good guy. But besides the date rape scene, what in the movie even suggests that? That he's killing immigrants and gang members? That doesn't seem like it automatically makes you a good guy. What the fuck did the guy in the car do? No, seriously. Just innocent person. And like, it wasn't even with the cops, where he gave the cops, he was like, I don't want to kill you, but if you get in my way, I'm going to murder you. And then he kills a bunch of cops. He just ran a random car off the road. Like, what? Who is this guy? What the fuck? And then, of course, the final act, all leads up to a sequence where he holds a family at gunpoint and then just fucking executes every one of them before giving a little speech about how he doesn't think their country's best people got out. How he thinks only the bad people got out. The son of the family is someone, and I almost forgot to talk about this because I gotta talk about this straw man that the film makes. The son had this whole thing going on where the son essentially had been part of a... And, like, to be clear, the kid looks 14 or 15. Like, these are not adult... Like, he does not look like an adult. But basically, what it is that he was part of a rape gang that gang raped this girl in a park, and now he's here to get all the gang rapists together so he can kill them. And this technically is the third action sequence of the film. It's not really an action scene. And while I was watching this movie, I actually felt incredible tension at this point in the movie, but I didn't feel it for him. I felt it for the family. I felt more for the family he was about to execute than I did for him, or even the victims he was supposedly avenging. Because the sequence is fucked. He literally has two parents and their two teenage kids on a couch. The kids both look like they're possibly 14. And basically, we find out, oh no, the teenage girl made some rape apology posts on her social media about how the girl deserved it, which is bad. But, like, I can't help but feel that, like, when you're a 15-year-old girl whose brother is on trial for a crime, you're kind of entitled to some bad fucking takes because you're young, stupid, and emotionally invested in your brother's life. Like, that's not a reason to execute a 15-year-old girl. You know, if she went to college, she'd probably learn better. But back to the straw man I was talking about. So all these gang rapists got off because the judge was convinced that the reason they committed the crime is because of how poorly Europe had integrated them into society. And now this is one of those things where, like, technically something is true. Europe is fucking dog shit at integrating people into its society. There is so much evidence for how they are dog shit at it that it's fucking sad. However, the reason it's a straw man is that is used as justification for why the judge lets these kids off. But here's the thing, though. Two things can be true. One, your country can be dog shit at integrating these people, and those people still committed a horrific crime and should go to jail. Those two things can be true at the same time, okay? But the film doesn't want us to see it that way. It wants to build a straw man argument for why this judge has to die in a field. In a car. Whatever. But back to the family. So he's got the family on the fucking couch. And he gives this monologue. And he basically asks the father, like, are these the values you teach your children? And he's like, I teach these children the values of the Quran and of my family. And then basically Armie Hammer goes on a little speech about how he doesn't think the good ones are the ones that got out. And how he thinks that these are the bad ones. And how they're trying to bring their archaic belief systems to Europe to ruin our democracy. And then, when the first group of gang rape teenagers show up at the house, he kills all of them. He kills the family, he kills the first two guys through the door, and then we proceed to get more scenes, and then it cuts back to more guys, to the other gang rapists showing up, and him killing every single one of them in the house, in the apartment also. Some people think this guy is a hero. But, like, this is not the behavior of a hero. He's literally lecturing people about how they have a barbaric system before he is going to execute them barbarically. It's the height of lack of self-awareness. And now, there was a part of me at a very couple points in the movie where, like, this movie can't seriously want me to believe that this guy is a hero. This has to be some metatextual commentary on right-wing extremism, right? Right? But it's not. And we know it's not because of the text that we are shown at the beginning and the end of the film, clearly telling us what the film's politics are. That the film is dedicated to the victims that the legal system has failed. It's a full-throated endorsement of vigilantism. It is a full-throated endorsement of it. And that's fucking wild politically.
I'm here to help you take that control back. I'm here to show you that you are no longer the victims. I'm here to show you that it's time to go out and show these fuckers that they aren't getting away with it anymore. Remember, I do this for you until you learn to do it for yourself.
But the thing that makes it scary is that anyone could possibly think that Armie Hammer's character is cool. And the movie wants you to think that he is cool. But he's not. He's a fucking psycho. Everything he does in the film just radiates absurdity and violence. He is a reprehensible piece of shit. Oh, and I didn't even tell you about the fact that later, those teenagers from the bus, he runs into them in the park when they're beating up this kid for his phone. And then he proceeds to taser the black kid and the white kid who are beating up this kid for his phone. Now, there's actually a girl in their group, but weirdly enough, the film is very uncomfortable with showing us him doing violence to a white girl, apparently, because as soon as he tases them, she just screams and disappears, like literally disappears. The film does not show us where she goes. Like literally, the film focuses on tasering these two kids, and then she's just gone. Like she screams, and then she's gone. We don't see her run, nothing. Just there's a shot of her screaming. That's the last we ever see of her. Before he knocks these kids to the ground, breaks their hands and ankles.
Willst du mich noch so zu meinem Haar haben? Oder so? Du willst
I just need my phone. That's all. That's all. You can go in bag.
Get your phone. Call your parents. Tell them you want to press charges on each one of these pieces
She literally just vanishes.
of shit. I'll give you their names.
He does not give them their names.
Hello, boys. You remember me? If I ever see you put your hands on anyone else ever again, I will visit you, and you will not be walking away from it. You understand? You remember when I told you on the bus that it was your lucky day? Maybe now you understand why.
Does not even ask their names. Doesn't even try. He had no way to contact that kid anyways. What the fuck? Like, listen. I've enjoyed a number of vigilante violence movies. I'm down to see people punish those who have personally wronged them. But everything about Citizen Vigilante isn't that. He is literally a psychopath. He is not interested in avenging things that happen to him, which is the hallmark of most revenge movies. This is not a revenge movie. This is a vigilante movie. And before you say, what's the difference? Well, the difference is that in this movie, no one ever personally wrongs Armie Hammer. He's not on a personal mission. This is an obsession. He is going out there and just killing whoever he thinks deserves it. And he basically tells those two kids after he breaks their hands, he's like, if I ever see you doing any of this shit again, I'm going to come and visit you. He also implies that he has guys who will shake down his tenants if they're not paying. Throughout the whole movie is just like this. It's the whole movie. And like I said, there's literally only one scene that makes him seem even remotely in the right, and it's the date rapist scene. But throughout the rest of it, it's just like, this man is a fucking monster. He doesn't have any of the good qualities of classic revenge heroes. He doesn't have any of the good qualities of classic vigilante heroes. He is unlikable. He is emotionally fucked. He clearly has no respect for actual human life, otherwise he wouldn't have killed the guy in the car. We actually don't even know it's a guy. It's just a car that flips over and explodes, so that he can prove a point about how people won't break the law to save their own lives, which I understand what the film's trying to say, but it's also weird because obviously there's people who will break the law because it's a vigilante movie and he's going out killing people who are breaking the law. But his point is that people won't go out and kill when they should. And that's the movie's whole point. That's the thesis. That we should all arm ourselves. And when we spot injustice, we should just start blasting. And that's the movie. That's Citizen Vigilante. It's morally reprehensible, and it's a jarbled mess of a film, shot through a kaleidoscope of nonsense. It's bad. Hell, it's worse than Mercy, the other movie that was in the running for worst movie of the year. I saw that. It's bad. It puts forward a reprehensible dystopian future that I hope never happens, featuring a legal timeline that is pure fucking nonsense, and it's totally propaganda for AI. But you know what? At least in Mercy, the message of the movie isn't, hey, arm yourself so you can kill foreigners. Citizen Vigilante is bad. Don't see it. Seriously. And if you know anyone who likes this movie, like unironically likes this movie, you should ask them why. Why they would be okay with a movie that features a scene where an entire family, only one of whom has actually committed a crime, gets gunned down for that one child's crime. That's not justice. That's not even remotely justice. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this little rant/review for what is probably the worst movie of the year. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful whatever, wherever, whoever you are. Except you, Uwe Bolls. Fuck you. And you, Armie Hammer. Fuck you too. Special thanks to bscove17, a supporter of this program. If you would like to support this program like bscove17, you know where that button is.